Hello everybody, welcome to my 22nd speech in the Ron Paul public speaking class. Today I'm going to give a speech on a specific country. I have chosen United States of America, my home country, for this speech. So, United States of America is the largest country in North America. And it, in fact, is one of the largest countries in the world by land mass and population. It is very influential, specifically technologically, culturally, and, most importantly, historically. Without it, I wouldn't be here today. So, let's dive into the history of the United States first. In the beginning of the United States, we split from the Brits. That's how I like to put it. Yes, so we split away from the British at the end of the Revolutionary War, and we had the normal start of the country, a few short skirmishes with other countries, negotiations, but we had the most important thing that happened in the space between 1800 and 1860 was westward expansion. Changed my mind. Without that, we would not have gotten to California, Nevada, Nebraska, all those other states. And after westward expansion, Lewis and Clark, and that sort of stuff, the most important thing that happened next was probably the Civil War. It was battle for slavery, but it was actually state rights because the states wanted to have their own rights, but where the United States were all together, not separate. So slavery was abolished, and the Union won the Civil War. So the Union were in favor of keeping the country together, and the Confederates were in favor of splitting the country into two halves, the South and the North. So the next thing that happened was most likely, the most important thing that happened next was, in between all this, I forgot to cover this, the Industrial Revolution. Without the Industrial Revolution, we wouldn't have trains. We wouldn't have many things. We wouldn't have a light bulb. I don't know if that's an Industrial Revolution. Whatever. Anyway, the next thing that happened was World War One. And World War One, I didn't really have much to say on that. We joined late, and we just basically ended the war, because that's how good the United States is. But right after World War One, we had the Great Depression. Now, this didn't just hit America as well. This hit the world. And it was a sad time with starvation and poverty. Many people died, and we were still in the midst of it when World War II came around. The rise of Hitler, the Nazis, and like all great evils, it eventually perished, and we were able to regain steady footing. And then we had civil rights, the assassination of John F. Kennedy and Martin Luther King, and, well, civil rights were based off African Americans' rights. Slavery had been abolished, but there was still segregation and racial discrimination. And there still is today. So, after that, probably the most important issue was the rise of communism and the fall of the Soviet Union in 1991. That was huge. I'm saying that as if I was there, but I'm not. And then there was 9/11 and the rise of terrorism, which we're still combating as we are in a war with Iran with our current president, Donald Trump. Now, on that note, we have had 47 presidents. Donald Trump is 45th and 47th, the second president to have non-sequential terms as president. We also have a Supreme Court, Congress, and the House of Representatives. But I'm going to cover some influential presidents, like Abraham Lincoln, the 16th president during the Civil War, was assassinated, the first president assassinated. And then we have George Washington, the first president right after we split from the British. He refused becoming a king because we just fought off a king, which makes sense. And then there's Ronald Reagan, the president during the fall of the Soviet Union, and he's my favorite president, the 40th one. Now, I brought up the Supreme Court for one reason, because President Taft was also the Supreme Court justice, and he's the first president to ever do that. Pretty big accomplishment. So that's how the United States is structured. But how is it geographically structured? Well, there's deserts I like to think of it, there's deserts in the west and forests in the east. There's a pretty good amount of each on each side. Actually, no, there's no deserts on the east. There's more deserts on the west. There's a few forests on the west side. There's mountains more over there too. There's one stretch of mountains, the Appalachian Mountains, and Smoky Mountains throughout the east, there's also lakes and ponds and rivers and great big river basins in the east. You won't find as many of those in the west. But in the north, there's snow, tons of snow, tundra. In the south, tropical environments like Florida and Mexico, but that's not part of America. And the Midwest, there's plains and farms and crops in the Midwest. Large, large plains of wheat and corn. Large fields. You can barely. It's just like as far as the eye can see. I've seen a picture of it before. It's just amazing. And then I'd say the hub of America is probably in the top, in the northeast quadrant, in your Maine, Massachusetts. That's where all the cities are. Not where all the cities are. You know what I mean? The big cities like Boston, New York, Baltimore, and even the capital of the United States, Washington, D.C. Now, America has influenced a lot of countries culturally, as, but we have our own culture as well. Time to go into American culture. We like, eagles are a great symbol of American freedom, and our flag has 50 stars symbolizing 50 states, and 13 red and white stripes symbolizing the 13 colonies we were before the British, during the British rule of our country. Some American foods are hot dogs, hamburgers, and Chick-fil-A. And McDonald's, if you want to count that in there too. One of the biggest things that's come out of America in movie culture is probably cowboys. And Star Wars originated in America as well. And many great composers, musicians, and movie makers grew up here. Great inventors like Steve Jobs and Thomas Edison. I can't say Nikola Tesla because he moved here. And we influence a lot of the world with our language, specifically. The English language is the most spoken language in the entire world. It's in every country. Now, I would like to conclude by saying that America is big, being one of the largest countries in the world. It is beautiful, with deserts, forests, mountains, lakes, and ponds, and rivers. And it is influential across the world. But most importantly, it is loved by its people. It is a well-structured country that is about to turn 250. And though I wasn't here for the whole 250 years, there's but one thing I can say, and that's America. Thank you.